Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the MTGPL July League semifinals, and we have
Quarters.
quarterfinals, and have here uh, Dr. Leo, myself, and my homie Mr. Jack Dax below me. How you doing?
Doing good. Excited to see how this matchup plays out. We've got Doomsday, piloted by Black Sky Doc, a local legend on the Discord who's been playing Doomsday for quite some time, against Little Bird, playing Bant Miracles. Bant Miracles had a lot of power coming through from Modern Horizons 2. We see Endurances coming in, that sort of thing. Uh, Especially with the powerful standard staples that came in like Uro, and then from Modern Horizons 1, you had the Quaddle, the flying snow snake.
Yes, as colloquially known as the flying sneaky snow snake. But this is the matchup to watch because Doomsday has historically only had one bad matchup ever, which is Delver. Fast clock, days, force of will, everything like that
Yep.
puts the pressure on Doomsday, makes it very hard. And we all know Black Side Doc is excellent at being a pilot in this deck. So the thing that I'm looking at as a fair mid-range blue player is how Little Bird navigates this matchup because this is a known deck lists are open here. So Little
Oh yeah.
Bird understands that endurance is a number one card, and force of will, force of negation are important. But the thing is, I'm looking at this list because once again we got three endurances, has 2 force of negation, 4 force of will, and I still think that Little Bird is, like, 45% in this matchup. Like, Blackside Dog is not only an amazing Doomsday pilot, but, like, the matchup is just so favored in Blackside Dog, for game 1. It's
Oh
just
yeah.
so good.
I mean that Doomsday build now with the fastest Oracle coming in from a couple of years back at this point, just absolutely brutal.
Yeah, and the adjustment to fight, things like, endurance is now just Pact of Negation,
Oh yeah.
which the deck now runs 1 Pact in the main and looks like how many in this side? Oh, no more in the side. It's just the 1 that you can find for the pile. That's
It's interesting to
wild.
run four Underground Seas. This is one of the rare decks that actually runs four of a dual land type.
Trying to think of any other deck that does that, and I'm not finding one. But yeah, this is the Red Splash Grixis, if you will, version of Doomsday that's running the one of Volcanic Island for sideboard hate like Pyroblast, Red Elemental Blast, Pyroclasm, stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
No red cards in the main though. Just straight blue black.
So we'll resolve a good old fishy ponder out of here, and seems like a slow start. I mean, Black Sky did do the street rate fetch downward, but that's just getting your life total a little bit lower. It's fine. You're trying to dig for
Yeah.
a combo, trying to
And that's
sculpt the perfect hand. It's fine.
the reason why Doomsday is just so positive versus like every other matchup in the format because unless you have a threat on turn 1 to pressure the Doomsday player's life total, it's just not going to happen. Like they're just going to just sculpt perfect hand, Thoughtseize or duress your hate away or your protection spell away, and then they're going to then combo off with Dark Ritual Doomsday and call it good.
Oh yeah, Doomsday is such an interesting combo piece deck. It is actually one I've been willing to try in the past. I really want to get around to actually proxying up the one LED
Yeah,
and
that's
play
the,
it.
2 things I'm missing. So I'm missing the 1 LED and the 2 more Underground Seas to go for just, like, the straight blue-black version.
Yeah, I mean, I have three underground seas and I have a Volk. I'd probably just cut one of the underground seas because there's no point in playing four. I'm not sure how much it favors you a little bit more than anything, but
Ooh, Old Border Ponder. So,
yep.
with the new advent of Ponder being an Old Border, what's your preferred Ponder artwork now?
So I actually really like the retro frame ponder a lot personally,
Mhm.
but I've always had a home for the bald man ponder. It's been in my Stoneblade deck forever, and I don't think I'll ever take it out until I get a full playset of foil ponders. In
Yeah.
either the three balls or the retro frame, preferably the retro frame. It's just beyond expensive to get the retro frame.
Oh, yeah. I have 4 of the retro frame, and then I have 4 altered ponders, which are, like, my go-to favorite. But if I'm gonna be playing a deck with, like, all a lot of old border cards, I'll definitely play the old border ponders, and uh, brainstorms.
100%. I agree.
Okay, so this is the scary part. So Doomsday is exponentially faster than something like a Sneak and Show, but there's few things that are more terrible than your just opponent just tapping 3 underground seas and just casting Doomsday on 3.
Oh yeah, agreed. It's pretty scary if you have the Doomsday Days backup kind of thing. It all
Mhm.
depends on what kind of version you're playing too. Especially in this combo, just being able to just Doomsday, no, just don't even care and go for it. It is super special. This is also one of the few lists that's actually playing Duress nowadays. I think you see Test play it occasionally too now, but other than that,
I don't think Tess is on there. I think nowadays Tess is on Orm's Chant,
yeah,
and just because like Orm's Chant is like uh, you can just go and use that to cover your combo turn versus something
that's
else.
fair.
But yeah,
Seems like we
yeah,
see
we
a
see.
Force of Will and Uro as solid sneaky snake. I think it's an abundant harvest, and I'm not sure what the far left is. Could be
Yeah,
double
it's
abundant
abundant.
harvest.
It's double abundant harvest. So two abundant harvests in the deck, two in play, and yeah, that hand has nothing left in it.
That hand's boring.
And yeah, the sneaky snow snake won't put up much of a clock, but like I think if you're black side dog, I think you're missing a dark ritual to just go off with it. But I'm sniffing out that doomsday. I think it's in hand.
Yeah, I think Doomsday is in hand. I imagine probably some kind of permission as well. I mean, it is risky right now, but also not risky at the same time. I mean, Snow Snake will beat you down, but whatever.
Yeah, but not fast enough that you can't combo and stuff like
Yes.
that, even if you have to pass a turn. But I mean, there are a lot of dead draws in this deck right now. I mean, of course, Swords of Plowshares are really bad. Prismatic Endings are really bad. So there is a chance that yeah, Little Bird is definitely digging for action here. I was gonna say if those top two cards of the deck haven't been good for Little Bird, the game might just be over on this next turn with Black Eye Dock.
I will say it's interesting to note, at least for Modern Horizon 2 card, how prevalent Urza's Saga is becoming now. It's becoming a very staple
I
card.
I love the card. I've been playing it as a 2 of and Standstill, and it is hot. Oh my god, it's so much fun to play, and the fact that you can use things like, what's the card I'm thinking of? Hall of Heliod's Generosity to get it back on top of your library is just nuts.
Ooh,
And, oh, we got a Force Negation, and there's a I wonder if there's a blue card to pitch it to it in hand because the Uro did, go cantripping.
one hopes. One does hope.
Yeah, if there's no blue spell in hand, Lilbert still shields down.
I wonder if Black Sky is going to go. Probably going to get the Undergun Sea here, I imagine.
Oh yeah,
And then just straight Doomsday turn?
this is straight Doomsday. This is hardcast Doomsday. This is what I was thinking.
Take the risk. Just go for it.
I guarantee it. He either has days or some other form of protection to protect it, but
Yeah.
this is yep 3 mana Doomsday. Yeah, and if you're Little Bird here, this is your only point of interaction. You go now. You don't fight for Force Negation doesn't do anything
Nope.
else because it's not going to interact with Thassa's Oracle. So you go now, and you just pray that your opponent doesn't have it. And yeah, I think that's what Little Bird's thinking right now. Is thinking,
Does he have
can
days?
I?
Is there a days
Yeah,
out of
does he
force?
have days?
What's in hand?
Uh, it's happening. Doomsday's resolved. Yep, Little Bird or do what every blue pair just hates to see. Just hates to do. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, make your Doomsday pile to just beat me.
Yep. I mean, this is where the hard part of Doomsday actually comes out. Traditionally, before Thassa's Oracle printing, it was less reliable to actually play Doomsday, but now with Thassa's Oracle being in the meta, you actually have a reliable win con, making this deck a
So
lot more better.
So back when I was writing my office hour well hell the what was the name of my
The
writing
Legacy
series that I
checkup,
the legacy
when you
checkup,
were
yeah.
writing more of it.
When I was writing more of it, I need to get back into it.
It's
This
hard.
pandemic needs to go away so I can get back more into my hobbies. So when I was writing the legacy checkup, and Blackside Doc was on an absolute tear. I did a deep dive into learning how to play Doomsday just so I can write the article being educated about it. And I talked to the Black Sky Doc a lot about it. And Black Sky Doc is just so much reps and so much time and put so much effort into this deck, and it has really rewarded him. And I have just nothing but impressive things to say about this deck in the hands of Blackside Dog. But when we're talking about this moment here, the crafting the pile, like the giga brain plays that you have to do to just anticipate everything, because it's entirely possible Little Bird is just going to rip an endurance off the top and you have to deal with that. And you have now a force negation and also an endurance to deal with.
Oh yeah.
So you have to build your pile to be able to fight that. And like I believe Blast Eye Dog most likely did that. And yep, showing the deck list here. See, what's important here is if you are familiar enough with Mir- uh, with Doomsday and you're familiar enough with a list, you can figure out what the pile contains. Especially because you saw Black Sky grab a card from your from his graveyard. So if you go through, spread it out, all right, look where are the four ofs, where are the two ofs, where are the important cards. Okay, break it down how and you can figure out where it is and you can plan out what your what you're going to need to force a will and what to hate to play around. And oh, we see the ideas unbound and also the what's it called, the ideas unbound and the lines I mean the pile. So I have money here that Black Sky Dog's going to go through. Oh, do we have an Emrakul line here? No, we don't have an Emrakul line in the main on this one. So if ideas unbound is in,
Yeah, this seemed interesting. I wonder if it's probably like Edge of
do we
Autumn.
have?
Oh no, Edge of Autumn's in the
Oh,
side, right?
do we have an no Edge of
No, Edge
Autumn's
of Autumn. I'm betting there's an Edge of Autumn in there.
7 life as well? You're gonna go down to 6 life, and we've already seen 1 Street Wraith. It looks like that Street Wraith was possibly the other grab. Yeah, and it looks like Little Bird is trying to figure out what is
We see two
in the
petals.
pile.
Personal suitors in the pile. Three petals are
I mean, then
all
you won't
petals
put
are in
that
the
in your
pile. I don't see an LED unless
oh,
there's
the
an LED up
LEDs
there.
is LEDs in the graveyard. LEDs in the graveyard.
Okay, so we know
Or
Thassa's
LEDs
Ritual is
in the
probably in the
exile.
pile. We know there's
Yeah.
a Street Wraith most likely. Do we see the Limdual's Vault? Yeah,
I
we do.
think Limb
I
Duels.
think I saw it.
Yep. 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 I see Limb Duels. It's like right in the middle.
So I imagine that's
Yeah.
Edge of Autumn in there.
Yeah. Little Bird is trying to figure out. Yeah, and this is just so much harder because of the fact that Black Sky Dog knows about the force negation. And so because they know about the force negation, they could easily build a pile to beat a force negation.
Oh yeah. This is such a skill intensive
Yeah, like
card. I mean, you are picking the five best cards. The five best cards in your deck to figure out what you're doing. And this is big brain. You got to think about like what's coming ahead. What can you deal with? Especially since we know a force. Are we putting a daze in there? Like what are we drawing into on purpose? It is a deck that continually rewards you if you're playing it a bunch. We know there's an abundant harvest. We know there's a force negation in hand.
well, that abundant harvest is basically just pitching to an endurance. That and but
Yes.
if there's an endurance in hand, it's 100% being pitched to it. Or otherwise, it's going to be fired off immediately right here, trying to find some other answer.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's still
I
not the best plan. I mean, you can only put back what Doomsday.
yeah, I really do think that if Little Bird fires off the abundant harvest here, what's the other card in hand?
We know there's Force Negation and Abundant Harvest. We don't know what the other
Force
two cards
negation
are.
and abundant harvest.
There's two
Okay,
cards in the blind. You're assuming
so
logically they're going to keep up mana for the Force, and then maybe they have a negation, Force and Will in hand with blue card.
yeah, like at this point, I'm thinking if you don't have a second piece of interaction, i.e., force of will or endurance, I think you have to fire off the abundant harvest to look for. Oh, this is a play. Bring
Death
back the
Arrow?
Uros.
Yeah.
See an additional card.
Always an interesting one. That's assuming we have a blue card somewhere. Or a land in hand. No land.
No land.
Oh, we're brainstorming.
Okay,
That's
we
interesting.
are seeing a brainstorm. So if I'm so I probably would have forced negation that. Like honestly, that's the only target that your forced negation is going to be good for there.
Yeah.
Besides like maybe a pact.
What, Edge of Autumn?
No, you just cycle the edge of autumn. You don't cast
That's
it.
true. Street
Cycle,
Wraith.
full street race.
Probably
One card left in library.
cycle, I imagine, Edge of Autumn here. Oh, we're casting Thassa's Oracle.
I think there's one card left in library. Yep.
Yes. Force of Will, pitching.
Okay, so there is another force effect. Force of will, pitching brainstorm. Do we have a second blue card?
There's Days.
There's days. Force negation, pitching ponder.
Okay.
Do we have? Okay, we have an edge of autumn sacrificing, drawing a card.
Ha!
Pact negation and
Yes.
GG's. Oh, okay.
Last card
Last guy
packed.
doc
I
just
mean,
doing that.
not much you can do about it. I mean, that's what the Pact of Negation is there for, you know, just to be able to answer any threat, whether it be
Oh
a
yeah.
creature or non creature.
All right. So let's go to sideboards here. And for Little Bird, who's going to be on the play, we got two back to basics, two Carpet of Flowers, one Containment Priest, one Counterbalance, one Dress Down, one Endurance, one Engineered Explosive, two Aethersworn Candidates, one Force of Vigor, one Hydroblast, one Prismatic Ending, and one Veil of Summer. What do you like here?
I like Veil a lot, and I like Veil and I like Dress Down. Those are my two that I really think about. Veil and Dress Down
Okay.
just seem so much fun.
So I'm looking at a total of 5 cards for this matchup.
Okay.
The first one being Dress Down because you flash that in before Thassa's
Oh
Oracle
yeah.
hits the field and just nukes the trigger. One Endurance because that brings you up to the full 4 Endurance, which is important for this matchup.
Fair.
Uh, the two Aethersworn Candidates are also amazing in this matchup. This is one of the cards that Bosch and Roll swears by for the Doomsday matchup because of the fact that it basically turns off Dark Ritual as a card, period. As well as the fact that this also stops the Doomsday turn because everything that they're going to be casting is going to be a non-creature leading up to that point that they cast that they cast the Thassa's Oracle. Sorry, non-artifact
That's pretty
that they
relevant.
yeah, exactly. So there's only, the 3 Lotus Petals and a Lion's Eye Diamond as the only artifacts to stop it start. And then I do love the Veil of Summers to win versus the hand disruption versus also the counter war. So it's one of those things that there's also a lot of things to cut here. There's 3 Terminus, there's 3 Prismatic Endings. There's also 4 Swords of Plowshares. You could leave in some number of Swords of Plowshares,
Mm-hmm.
but I still think that like you're gonna have enough things to cut, and deck lists that like you have stuff to cut. So like I even like things like Carpet of Flowers because of the fact that you have so many bad cards to cut with 4, 7, 10, maybe even 1 to 2 Jason Mind Sculptor. So 12 cards to cut. You have enough things that you can just yeet out. Because
Do you think
remember,
it's worth bringing it back to basics?
yes, 100%. That as well, because of the fact that it punishes the slower, okay, I'm just gonna pass a turn type stuff. Remember, Bant isn't trying to win here. Bant is trying to just not die. And then Black Side Doc will just kill himself.
That's fair. No, that's very fair.
And there's no Shelldock Isle here to win in that sort of way. So all right, so in Doomsday's board, we got 1 Cavern of Souls, 2 Duress, 2 Flusterstorm, 2 Digger's Cage, 1 Pyroblast, 2 Red Elemental Bass, 1 Surgical Extraction, 1 Pyroclasm, 2 Force Negation, and 1 Massacre. What do you like here?
Cavern of Soul and Flusterstorms. I'm
I
ready just to like
also
battle.
I also like the Cavern of Souls and Flusterstorms. What I don't like about this board, it has 0 answers for Endurance. The fact that these are 2 pieces of interaction being force negation are not passive negation is huge because endurance is the only thing that punches a hole through all of this.
No, agreed. I mean,
Yeah.
endurance is the one card that's getting you through the matchup here, and it's going to be the one card that screws you over when the trigger goes on the stack.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is just more of a victim of time here, seeing that this was this film back in July.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things that this is why you see the more of the force negations to just stop it. But what I think is important here is definitely the cavernous souls to punch through,
Oh yeah.
duress be to strip the every important card except for the endurance, the two fluster storms to fight on the stack, obviously, and I don't even like the blasts here because fetching a red source just feels so bad in this matchup, and it's not going to interact favorably except for to like try a 101 a force of will. I mean, I can see it, but like fetching a red source just feels so bad. But I overall, this matchup is very much like a picture perfect example of like the overall arching legacy meta. Like you, if you're going to a legacy event within the next like 1 to 2 months, then it's like Doomsday is literally a deck that you have to look out for.
Yeah, I mean, Doomsday is definitely one of those deck lists that if you haven't played against it in paper, you're in for a rude awakening. It's also a deck that I don't see too prevalent online. It does come up, but it's not like something that everyone's playing. I think the hotness that everyone plays right now is Blue Red Delver and Yorian Taxes.
Yeah, Yorion Taxes is huge actually, and it's because of the fact that it actually has a very decent Doomsday matchup post board.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it has Wastelands, a fast clock, and it also post board, it has a lot of hard pieces to interact with. I've heard that the matchup is actually like semi complicated, but you have to remember, like Doomsday just has like pretty much a 55 to 60% win condition against the entire meta,
Oh yeah.
except for Delver. Like it's just the one thing,
I mean,
and
I think the format's pretty fair where it's at now. I mean, you got Delver that beats up on combo decks, and Delver gets beaten up by Death and Taxes, and the cycle rinses and repeats.
yeah, which I think is really interesting because, there's a lot of people who are, talking like band stuff and such like that. And though I could understand frustration, I just haven't seen it. Like, yes, like Blue Red Delver is good, but like if you go to any sort of paper event, I played it against it twice at a event. I beat it 4-0. Like just and I was playing Neoform.
No, it's definitely an impressive deck to a degree, but also it's a deck that relies heavily on its matchups. I mean, there's been calls for different bans, but it's one of those decks that is going to rely on knowing the matchup, and then also it does have its bad matchups. It's not favored 100% of the field. I mean, it does eat combo decks alive because that's probably what that's because of what it's built to do.
Well, how many decks have an answer for just turn one Ragavan? Your opponent just goes turn one Ragavan. You're playing Ant, and you're just like, yeah, that I can't beat that, homie.
Yeah,
And then they hit you once, take your own Thoughtseize off the top of your library, use the treasure to cast it. It's just so good.
it is disgusting.
Oh, okay. We're gonna see a Veil here, I think. Little Bird fetching for that
Do you think it's Veil or do you think it's Brainstorm?
Tropical Island could be either or, but if I've been holding up mana for that long, I want to
Ah,
see.
Veil, yes.
Oh, that feels good. Just every
The
time that
downside of
happens.
playing black.
Oh, it feels bad, dude. As a longtime Cabal therapy
Yeah.
player, it feels bad. But at the same time, like Veil is just such a good defensive card.
Oh yeah,
Like I can't even hate on it. Like before I was playing Force of Will, I was playing like 2 to 3 Veil on my board.
it is such a good card.
But importantly, we do see the first sideboard cards coming in with those two extra duress, the
Yep.
high the higher percentage of it. What's interesting though is this one of Limdul's Vault. Like
I kind of want to see it.
it's it's such a good card. Like every once in a while, you just get there,
Ooh, are we gonna Pyroblast
and
this? Yes.
yep, Red Elemental Blast.
Red Elemental. The older brother to Pyroblast, of course. Very,
Yeah,
very minute differences.
yeah, but this is what I was gonna say though. Fetching that volcanic island to do that sets you, unless you have an extra land in hand, sets you off of just hardcast Doomsday.
Yes.
and that's the reason why they have to run the 4 of Underground Sea. And you can't even run Watery Grave as a substitute because your life totals matter so
Oh
much.
yeah, it's such a rough
Okay.
turn to think about. Brainstorm. I mean, that's a good use, efficient use of your mana here. I mean, you're not
Yeah,
killing them
definitely,
all for anything
because
else.
if you don't have, like, a blast effect in hand, essentially that volcanic island is just an island. And I've come to realize that in, when I've been playing a lot with the standstill list where I just have a single volcanic island in there for prismatic ending. And, like, the amount of times that I see, like, the volcanic island get wastelanded or something like that because
Mm-hmm.
somebody thinks that's important, I'm just like,
No, it's
it's
not a
just
very
an
important.
island."
Yeah, it's the extra island that happens to tap for red when it comes up.
Yeah, exactly. It's just an island. And this matchup, it's not like it matters. No wastelands between either of these 75.
Oh yeah. Feel free to fetch away whatever you want. That's also a relevant thing to think about. Ooh. Seems like
Yeah,
we're gonna
no
be using
stifles
this.
or anything like that.
We're gonna be using this turn just to brainstorm and sculpt a good hand.
I mean, you say that, but Doomsday just goes Dark Ritual Hill and then win. Like that's what's so strong about this deck is the fact that it can just Dark Ritual in this deck is a better Dark Ritual deck than I think any other deck in the format.
I mean, there's nothing more powerful than Dark Ritual into Doomsday. It feels very bad when you see it. Oh, we're just gonna Thoughtseize here. Interesting. Are you checking if
Ooh, well,
the engines are down?
oh, just immediately putting the endurance into the
I don't think there's another option besides Shark Typhoon, right? Is that a Shark Typhoon?
uh
There's a Caracas, a
I
Misty Rainforest, and some kind of blue card. Oh, actually, no. That might be another endurance. That might
I think
actually be
that's
another
another
endurance. That's
endurance.
hilarious. There isn't an option. You just get endurance. You don't get to pick one. You just
Well,
get an
that
endurance.
understands why. I understand now why Little Bird tapped out for the full 4
Yep.
of uh because of the fact that you do. Oh, here we go. What was I saying? What was I saying?
They're down.
Just does it
Shields are down.
like nothing. And if Black Side Dog wants to go right here and has any amount of fast mana, like a Lotus Petal, or I think the only thing that doesn't win right now is like the only fast mana being LED in hand. So if Black Side Dog has a single extra mana source in the form of Petal, it's game over. Game's
All
done.
right. I mean, assuming we're sculpting the perfect hand of like, oh, we can see it. There's a Street Wraith and a Pact. I think
Yep.
when I recorded this, as I was the recorder for this one, I believe I told Sky that we could see it. Um, so I'm sure Black Sky
So
Dog responded to that favorably.
So this is what I was talking about with of being a fair blue deck. You can go from 1 minute going, okay, yeah, I got this completely. Like tap out to player threat, have a pitch endurance or pitch spell or anything like that. And like, cool, Thoughtseize you, Dark Ritual Doomsday kill you. I'm just like, well, this sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
then you
mean,
just have to sit here and wait.
this is half the gameplay of the deck. I'm always curious to see how this is going to play in paper because I've never actually. No, I played against a Doomsday player once in like an SCG event. I am kind of curious to see how judges will react to Doomsday being played because judges are always wanting to push things forward. Make sure you make a play action, commit to a play action. But Doomsday is kind of one of those weird decks where like it's a fast combo deck, and most of the play actions you're gonna make are literally the Doomsday pile.
Yes.
So I do wonder
Uh
about the leniency on that factor. I mean, as a judge personally, um, I view this as like this is actually making game actions. Personally,
oh,
that's the way I view it.
100%.
Um, Black Sky Knock's not like screwing around trying to think about things. Black Sky Knock is playing the gameplay of the deck. The gameplay of the deck is cast Doomsday. Okay, now we're playing the real game.
Yep.
Because up until that point, you're just kind of going through the motions.
It's like a Charizard sub game, if you
Mm-hmm.
will, of just like, can I figure out what's in your Doomsday pile? And then can I figure out like what is how can I beat it with like the equipment and the stuff I have in my hand right now? Which in itself is probably one of the more fun parts of the deck. Like the fact that oh, I need to recommend and if you've ever seen on the SEG YouTube, Recurring Insight with Patrick Sullivan, I'd
I
be
have
interested to
not.
see his take on Doomsday. He talks about like game design and like cards and stuff like that, and like different cards, like why they're good or bad cards. Highly recommend.
So for all you listeners, yeah, you should definitely check it out. Then it seems like a fun time. And we're just gonna see Black Sky keep wrapping up the Doomsday here. We're seeing the OG Doomsday art, not the new one with the
Oh
death
yeah,
ball coming above.
oh yeah. With that
Oh,
being
wait, I
said,
see the pile.
I do really like the 4 death balls, like, hanging overhead, like, it looks like a doomsday scene. Like,
Oh, we see a Daze, and we see both a Reb and a Pyroblast.
yeah,
There's an
lots of
alley.
force effects
No,
in
there's
there.
two petals.
Oh, there's 2 petals in there.
Do you see an
So, we're not
LED?
going
I do not see an LED though.
I don't see an LED, so that means
Actually,
we're
that
going for
might
an
be LED in the pile next to the Dark Ritual.
oh, yeah, I see it.
So that's LED, two
Yeah,
petals. So assuming a petal is in hand somewhere.
yep.
Yeah.
I mean, one, two,
Four
three,
force effects.
one, two, three,
Uh,
four force of wills.
I see two Dazes, three Dazes. No, two
One,
Dazes. I see
two.
four Ponders.
3 no, 3 days is there's 1 and 2 over from the Force of Will.
Ah,
I'm only seeing 1 maybe 2 Thoughtseizes
I think two
in
Thoughtseize
there.
is in the list. Do you see the Limdual's Vault?
I do
I
not.
don't, which is kind of
I mean,
surprising.
that's Outpost sideboard. That's Outpost
Yeah, I
sideboard.
would
It's
assume
an
so.
easy cut.
Yeah.
You have plenty of time. You have plenty of time. Limdual's Vault is for, I think, quite literally the faster combo
I
matchups.
also imagine
When you
Personal Tutor got cut, right?
yeah, Personal Tutor definitely get cut.
I wonder if Cavern came in. That's what I want to know. I really want to know if Cavern came in. I'm
Yeah,
betting
we
it
wouldn't
did.
see it. We wouldn't see it.
Not yet. It's in the
So
pile.
yeah, it looks like
It is
Little
here.
Bird gets a single draw. It's I think it might be a land. And Black Side Dog has to beat a single endurance.
Doable.
Unless the other card top decked by Little Bird is exactly Force of Negation.
I mean, doesn't help if it's, you know, Cavern of Souls, naming
Oh yeah.
Merfolk.
Well,
Like,
no, I was thinking about the fighting on the stack, but yeah, it's like yeah, I think this is very much Black Size to win.
I imagine this is a pact of negation somewhere in this
Well,
pile.
it needs to be I think it has to be literally be what's it called? Dress down.
Mm-hmm.
Because dress down wins here.
I do wonder at what point, if you do have a dress down, what point do you fire it off?
With the Thassa's Oracle on the stack.
Yeah.
Not with the ability on the stack, but with Thassa's Oracle.
Cap stack.
And I think I would definitely fire
Oh,
in oh, ideas
ideas
unbound.
inbound.
If you have a force negation, you fight it here.
There you
Otherwise, you just
go.
wait. You
Endurance
just wait for the
Crocus.
Thassa's Oracle.
Endurance Crocus. Do you fight it? I don't think you fight
I
it. I
mean,
think you leave it up.
no, I think you don't. I don't think okay. This is the point when the endurance is going in.
Okay. That is an interesting choice because even with this resolved, right, it's still going to make.
It's gonna put 2 cards into
Yeah.
the bottom of the library,
Yeah,
which
but
they
there's only two cards left, so you're going to draw one of the. You're going to draw
which
three of
Thassa's
them, right?
Oracle
Yeah.
well, Thassa's Oracle is gonna trigger for 2.
Yeah, it's still going to trigger for two, so it doesn't actually matter. Oh, wait, no, there's five cards now, so it could
Yeah,
be relevant,
which
but I think, what? Ideas Inbound draws three, right? Yeah.
Ideas Inbound draws 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you're still fine.
Yeah,
There's no
exactly.
nonsense. I would have waited for Ideas Abound to resolve.
Exactly.
Then, then you actually start screwing people over.
Yep, and
Yeah.
GG's. And that's game. Of course, yeah, there's everything in hand.
Of
So
course.
and then there's even an edge of cycle of edge of bottom. Um so yeah, Black Sky Dock advances to the semifinals. And like we were saying, it's a very hard matchup, and Doomsday just has like 60% against the entire
Oh
format.
yeah, Little Bird
So
played a very close game. I mean, there isn't much more that they could have done otherwise. And it's great to see them on the leagues and actually making it to
Mhm.
top eight. You know, it's always good to see that.
Yeah.
So we'll be back
Well,
hopefully with the next semifinal, right, Doc?
yeah,
Couple
definitely.
months. So have a
Yeah.
good one,
Thank you,
man.
everybody.
Appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time with the semifinals, hopefully, with Black Sky Doc against Eternally Surprised.
Have a good one, everyone.